Okay, I want to talk about accurate sales forecasting. So this is for sales managers, and or if you're an independent salesperson, you're going to learn something from this too. I have to say that when I started selling almost 30 years ago, we didn't have CRMs. And CRMs are great tools now so that if the information that you're putting into the CRM is good, you're able to now track where each of your customers are in the process, in the funnel, at which stage they're at. If you've assigned a certain dollar amount, if your CRM allows you to do this, if you've assigned a certain dollar amount to those prospective customers, then it's going to take, based on your personal close ratios, call to close ratios and appointment to sale close ratios, it's going to be able to give you a certain level of predictability to tell you that you typically close this percentage of people in this category and it represents this kind of dollar amount, and it gives you an accurate forecast like that. Now, I realize not all CRMs do that, but let's assume for a minute that your sales team, you've got a small sales team, or you're a salesperson yourself and you're using like an Excel spreadsheet or something, and you don't have a CRM. I want to show you how we used to do this and how surprisingly accurate it was. Now, you can do this now for yourself and for your salespeople, and the way you're going to do it is either in a sales meeting environment, and this is a pop quiz, by the way, you don't let them know that this is coming, or you do this by calling each salesperson into your office if you're the sales manager and doing this on an individual basis. And what it starts with is step number one. Step number one says, okay, we know you've got a lot of people on your radar screen or in your CRM if you had, for example. And let's say that the total amount of business that represents is in the millions. Let's forget about everybody because they're in different stages of that pipeline or that funnel. Let's forget about everybody that's in there. And you as a salesperson, I want to know who are the top 10 customers you're working with that you'd like to close in the next 30 days or in the next quarter or whatever your sales cycle is. These are the top 10 that you're most likely to close in that sales cycle. Okay. So the first thing I do is have that salesperson start telling me off the top of his head. I want to do this because I want to see how well the salesperson is able to recall that off the top of his head. If he can't produce, he or she cannot produce the top 10, I'm not asking for everybody, I'm just asking for the top 10 most likely to close that they want to close in the next buying period, sales cycle period. If they can't do that, it might be, they might have a bad memory, but it might be a sign that they're really not prospecting as much as they should, and they're not working and managing this funnel as much as they should. But let's assume now in step one, they've already given me now the top 10 most the most likely to close, or the people they want to work with the most to close in the next buying cycle period. So next is I want to ask them to give me the dollar amount that they feel that that prospect or that company represents for them in the way of sales. Okay, not commissions, but in the way of orders. So now I realize that depending on where they are in the stage of this funnel, they might not know that yet. Because they haven't been able to get into the meeting with them and ask the probing questions of what their budget is, if they're willing to spend more to solve these kind of problems and so forth. So just your best guess, if you haven't gotten to that stage yet, what do you think that company represents? All right, that's step two. Step three, I want to do this. I want to ask the question, okay, out of those 10, give me the 3 that you feel the strongest, that you're most likely to close. I don't need to know why, and they can share that if they want to, but if they say, well, it's this customer, and this customer, all right? My next question that I didn't let them know I was going to ask before I asked that is, all right, who would you say, pick 3 that you're least likely to close? So first is pick 3 you're most likely to close. Then 3 least likely to close. I trust my salesperson's gut, and so far, most times they're very accurate when you ask them this and let them reflect a little bit about why they might. Well, this customer, we're up against a lot of competition. We're up against an incumbent supplier who's been there for years, and there's a relationship. This one is all about price, and we're never the cheapest price, and they don't seem to. Whatever those reasons are, they're going to come up with those reasons to say, out of those 10 that I gave you, if I had to pick 3 that's least likely to close, it would be these 3. List those, okay? Now, what you're going to have left is 4 companies, prospective customers in the middle, and then I want you, as a sales manager, to put those in the middle, right? And then here's the math I want you to do. So with the first category that they're most likely to close, I'm giving them 100% credit for that. So let's write down 125. The sum of what each of these is worth is 125,000 in this example. I'm dropping that down to 125,000 here. I haven't touched it. The least likely to close, I'm going to sum up those. Here in this example, it's $200,000, and I'm going to say, I trust your gut as well. Most times, if we think that we're not going to close those, we're not. So let's say for whatever people buy for their reasons, not our reasons. Let's say we're not going to get those for the purpose of this exercise, and we're going to give that one a big fat 0. Now that group that's in the middle, that wasn't in one of those 2 categories, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sum of that amount, and I'm going to multiply it times 50%. All right, so in this case, 130,000 represents, or comes out to 65,000. Now I'm going to take the sum of this category and the sum of this category, so in this case, it's 190,000, okay? And I'm going to say that's what you're most likely to close in the next, whatever it is, 30 days, quarter, whatever your buying cycle is. So if you're an independent salesperson and you really want to know, because this can be misleading, what am I going to close, most likely in the next month or in the next quarter? This is the way to do it. And now, if I'm coaching salespeople and they would come up with this number, which isn't that number in the millions, and they said, oh my gosh, that's all I'm going to close in the next 3 months or 6 months or whatever the cycle is, that's not enough, because that's not going to give me the commissions that I need for that period of time. Then what do I say? Well, then let's look at your prospecting activity of putting the people into the funnel, and let's ramp it up, right? Tony Robbins says massive action equals massive results. Likewise, little action equals little results. Okay, so we've just, one of the very first and most simple way before we can get into other things that we can do to fix the problems like close ratios and stuff, is just focus on the activity. Okay, here's where you're headed. You don't like it. I don't like it either, because it's not where we want you to be. So let's increase the activity. It's like when a person goes to a gym or a personal trainer, right? And what is one of the first things the personal trainer does to help them with their weight loss goals and getting in shape? Get on the treadmill. Get active, get exercising. Now, if that person says, well, I'm going to do all those things, I'm going to do the activity, and I'm going to do the treadmill, I'm going to do the weightlifting and everything that I've never done before, but don't mess with my diet because I like the foods that I eat and I want to keep that the same. But they've never done any kind of gym activity or any kind of treadmill stuff and everything like that. If they don't change their diet and they just do the physical activity on a regular, consistent basis, 3 to 5 days a week, will their body change? Yes, of course, because they never did that kind of activity before, and they're increasing that level of activity. So by increasing that level of physical activity, they are going to see physiological change. Their body's going to change. Now, if the person likewise says, I don't want to do the treadmill, I don't want to do the weights, I don't want to do that stuff, okay, because that's not me. I don't like the gym environment. But I'm going to manage my diet according to this new plan. I'm going to eat clean. I'm going to reduce my caloric intake. I'm going to reduce my calories every day. And I'm going to measure my, fats and my carbs and my proteins on a daily basis so that I put this within a healthy level. But I'm not going to the gym or anything, and I've never done this before in my diet. Will that person change? Of course, their body will change, okay? Because they're making improvements to their diet. Even if they don't do the exercise, the diet will help them change. Likewise, the activity, just doing the activity will help you change. But if we combine diet and exercise together, you're going to see exponential growth and change, right? Into the body. It's going to make you look so much better. You're going to get better results. It's the same way with sales. If we just get the salesperson recognizing, I need to do more activity, I need more prospects into my funnel, they're going to get more sales out of the bottom because it's a numbers game, okay? Anybody who says differently is lying to you. It is a numbers game. But we can help increase that effectiveness by giving you tools and techniques in your sales training that's going to help you fine-tune your craft, okay? And when you're meeting with prospective customers, we're going to give you the tools, the questions to ask, the selling system to go through, and everything to get you to close more of the people you're meeting with. So number one is get you in front of more prospects by getting you more appointments. Now you can do that by just increasing your activity of cold calls, dials, so forth, but the training and technique will also help you increase your closing ratio. So if I dial 20 people and I only get 2 on the phone, or I'm sorry, let's say 4 on the phone, and I only close 1 of those, what would it mean if I were to get better at my prospecting, cold calling techniques so that out of those 4, I actually close 2? I'm going to double my amount of appointments that I'm going to get. Now, if I double my amount of appointments, that means I'm seeing more prospective customers face to face. And if I learn in sales training techniques and tactics and powerful questions that I can use to move the ball down the field so that when I get to the end of the meeting, I close a bigger percentage of the people I'm meeting with than I normally did before, I've grown as well. Okay, so same thing with diet and exercise, right? So anyway, this is a very old school technique, but it still works. If you're not using a CRM or your CRM's getting bad data in and giving you bad data out, this is a great way to gauge where you're at right now as a salesperson, or if you're a sales manager, to gauge each one of your salespeople. And again, pop quiz. Don't tell them you're going to do this. Call them into the office and do it with them individually, or if you want to do it in front of the team so that the team gets to see the struggle of their teammates that aren't doing the prospecting right, it might motivate them to, or doing enough prospecting, it might motivate them to do more prospecting as well. What you focus on, you can measure, you can improve upon, right? So the prospecting activity is one part of it, and then the sales techniques is another, but we're gonna help the salesperson get better results at the end of the day. All right, if you like this and you want to know more about how you can accurately forecast and how you can improve your call to appointment ratio and how you can improve your appointment to close or sale ratio, let me know, and I'd be happy to share those techniques with you. Thanks.